Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Module 4 of Learning to Read the Akashic Records. I'm Emily. Nice to see you all again. I hope that you enjoyed and got a lot of great insight from the first experience of opening your Akashic Records and hanging out in your Akashic Records. But if you didn't, not to worry. In this module, we're going to talk about what to do when you feel blocked. The majority of the time, when we experience blocks, they are a manifestation of our fears. If your fear is a conscious fear, such as you recognize that you don't feel 100% confident moving forward and accessing these higher realms of consciousness, then you're going to need to take a step back and work with your self confidence. You're going to have to work and retrain yourself to see yourself as more than just a normal human being. You're going to have to give yourself permission to step into your abilities, which I can promise you everybody has the ability to access these realms. A lot of times our fears can be subconscious, which means we don't exactly know off the top of our head where they're coming from. So we're going to talk about what to do if you have a suspicion that subconscious fears are what are limiting your access and your ability to receive information. Now, our subconscious fears can stem from both past life issues and or present life issues. A past life issue would look like something like this, and this has been my experience, and I've read a lot of clients who have had similar experiences of having a past life where they were in tuned to these extrasensory perceptions and abilities, either through a time when they were a witch, good witch, not a bad witch, or they were involved in wizardry, or they were involved in ancient alchemy of sorts. And as many of you will recognize from studying history, there was a period in time when witches were burned at the stake for practicing the witchcraft or imploring the different methods and modalities of healing, of understanding energy, of casting spells, of whatever it was. We got burned at the stake. So I've found with many clients that um, a karma that's carried over from a past life where they have been persecuted for speaking their truth can be a block to moving forward in this lifetime. That would be an example of a past life experience where the subconscious fear would create a block to you not getting as much wisdom, guidance, and clarity from the experience in your Akashic records as you might like. An example from a present life situation would look something perhaps like, let's say you were a kid and you felt like you might be in tune with psychic abilities or that you could see things. And the adults in your life did not support or did not nurture that gift, that creativity, that growth in you. Perhaps they suppressed it by saying, oh, that's not real. That's just your imagination, or don't say that in front of other people. Situations like that will cause us to carry with us blocks and fears from moving forward as well. So, and it's not limited to just these situations. That's just to give you guys an example of a situation that might have occurred in your life that would prevent you from feeling free and confident to move forward. The good news is there's something that we can do when we notice that we are not connecting as deeply or receiving as much information, or we are noticing a block of some sort. And the first thing I always like to do is I like to get a sense of this block as a person. Okay, as a person that you love, it doesn't even actually have to be somebody that you recognize. And if like your natural instinct is to personify this block as somebody that is a difficult person in your life, go with whatever your instinct is. I like to choose somebody that is easy for me to love, because it makes it easy for the communication to happen back and forth. So what we do is we get a sense of this block as a person. We personify it so that we can actually converse with and communicate back and forth with this block. Okay, so we want to get a sense of this block as an actual person that we can communicate with. Once you've done that, the next step is to, as you're opening the communication with the block, ask this person, try to get a sense of how this fear, this subconscious block is helping you. Okay? A lot of times, our dysfunctions are assisting us. I shouldn't even say a lot of times. This is all the time, or else we wouldn't have them. They are assisting us in some way, or else they wouldn't be there. Sounds very Dr. Phil, doesn't it? I always liked Dr. Phil for breaking it down that way. He'd be like, how is this problem helping you? But it's really actually a very powerful, just like my Dr. Phil voice there. Yeah. It's actually a very powerful insight into why fears and blocks continue to present themselves in our lives. They wouldn't be there if they weren't assisting us in some manner. Okay, so let's go back to the situation of the past life. If that fear is in place because you're afraid that you're going to lose your life if you speak out and speak the truth, then it is serving you by keeping you alive. That needs to be acknowledged and appreciated in order to move on, in order to reintegrate that fear, in order to heal from that fear and move on. It must be acknowledged how that fear is serving you. So we want to try to get a sense of how that fear has been serving us. Once we get a sense of how our fear has been serving us, then we're free to heal it and kind of like reintegrate that back into our souls. A lot of times, we will it's almost like we become fractals, like we cast out part of ourself over here. This is a process of reabsorbing, reintegrating all the parts of yourself that you kind of pushed out of your soul because they've been dangerous, because they've presented some sort of a fear or a block in your life. So this is a process of learning to communicate with them, understand how they've been helpful, and to reabsorb them back into our soul, so to speak. So here are ways that we can do that. We can you can use your hands, you can use your intention, you can hold light on that. So we have our fear, our block personified as a person. We just want to hold light, add light to the situation, to the fear, to this person that we've cast outside of ourselves, right? By adding light to the situation, we can heal almost anything. And doesn't even matter if you understand fully how it works. It works. Adding light, because light, like we said, carries knowledge, it carries wisdom, it carries healing. Just by intending to add light to a situation, the energy is smart. The energy knows what to do. And the more we learn to trust that, the more powerful of a healer that you will be. And again, I'd always like to clarify, it's not actually, even though I sometimes do refer to myself as a healer, I'm not healing anybody. I am facilitating or anchoring in the healing energy that the other person then has the opportunity to accept and bring the healing into their light body, into their awareness, or not. But I do have the power as a healer to anchor in that light and that space of healing, which gives other people the opportunity to step into that space and to receive it for themselves, to allow the healing for themselves. So just to clarify what I mean by being a healer and you becoming a powerful healer. So we're holding light, or adding light, however you like to look at it, on the block. And then once we've done that, just with our intention, we just want to reintegrate, reabsorb that back into our own heart space, into our own being. You can also ask for help from your angels, your guides. If you are doing this within the space of the Akashic Records, which is a good time to do it, to go ahead and run the energy and sync your consciousness and sound the ohms and work with your blocks within the space of the Akashic Records, I invite you to do that. And ask your masters, teachers, loved ones, and guides to help you release the places where the fears have blocked you from being able to receive the level of communication that you want to receive in this realm. Also, I really like moon rituals, both full moon rituals and new moon rituals. The full moon is a time of releasing what no longer serves us. So, a full moon is a great time to work with releasing your fears, releasing your blocks. And very simple, I conduct very simple ceremonies. I just write down on a piece of paper the whatever pattern that I'm hanging on to, which no longer serves me. Take it outside in the moonlight, light it on fire, burn it up, allow the universe to carry it away, and give thanks that it is done. It's really that simple. Another reason sometimes why we experience blocks is that we just don't trust ourselves enough yet. So, learning to trust your imagination is key. Learning to trust yourself is key, guys. And here's a promise that I can make to you. When you have run your energy and connected into crystalline core of Gaia, and you have connected into the space of source, the space of source, the space of ether, when you have moved your consciousness from your brain down into your heart space, and when you have set the intention and sounded these ohms to move into the space of the Akashic Records, you have shifted the energy around you. You are working in a higher vibrational frequency of energy. And you can trust that the thoughts that are coming to you in that space are ones of a higher frequency. How do I know that I have indeed accessed the Akashic Records? Here are some characteristics that you can be mindful of that are helpful in distinguishing or helping you to be assured that you have indeed entered this space of unconditional love and non-judgment of the Akashic Records. So if you are experiencing judgment of any kind, if you are experiencing a sense of disapproval of any kind, then you can guess that a subconscious fear or a block is misdirecting the frequency that you should be getting in this space, because the Akashic Records exist in a space of unconditional love. So if you're feeling or experiencing any feelings inside of you that do not resonate with unconditional love, then you want to take a step back, go in, go through the process again of running your energy, of moving your consciousness into your heart space, of sounding the ohms, paying particular attention to removing your ego, because the ego is what encompasses the fear and the judgment. So paying special attention to setting that aside and go through the process again. Another thing about the Akashic Records is they don't tell you to do anything. You know, they don't tell you to go out and break up with your boyfriend. They don't tell you that you need to start eating vegan. Instead, because free will is what it's all about, right? So the Akashic Records aren't going to tell you what to do. They will invite you to consider. Okay? I really like to use that phrase because it's very non-judgmental and non-threatening. I mean, if I tell you you should be doing this versus I invite you to consider doing this, it's a completely different ballgame, right? It's a completely different frequency. And because the Akashic Records do respect free will, they are never going to tell you or tell you to tell a client to do something. You will not find a statement coming out of your mouth like, you should, blah, blah, blah. If you do, take a moment, ask again. You can sound another ohm. With this ohm, I set aside my ego. Om, and set it aside. At any point in a reading, both for yourself or for a client, if you notice those particular feelings coming in, or you notice you saying I should, or you should, then just take a step back and just take one more breath. I set aside my ego. Om. And allow yourself to reconnect to that space of non-judgment and unconditional love. Most importantly, keep at it. You know, a lot of times it can be as simple as in a new exercise routine, okay, or a new yoga pose. You don't have to be able to do all of the yoga poses on your first try, in your first class. But if you stay with it, if you learn to breathe through it, and if you learn to work with the areas of your body that are expressing limitation to you, same with your soul, if you learn to work with the areas of your soul that are expressing limitation to you, you will heal those. You will break beyond your barriers, beyond your limitations, and you will find the access that you're looking for. It's all designed for your highest growth. By it all, I mean the process of life. So if you find that you're coming up against blocks, against fears, against limitations, learn to see that as your process of healing. Okay? Learn to recognize yourself as these aren't symptoms that I'm sick, or these aren't symptoms where I'm actually blocked. These are areas where I'm now ready to release and heal. And just by shifting your perspective into seeing yourself as ready to release and heal and grow, guess what? Where your energy goes, or wait, what is it? Where your attention goes, energy flows, right? So just by learning to see things in your life that way, you're already adding a flow of energy that will help to move this out of your path, so that you feel like you have that level of access and confidence and communication in these higher realms that you're looking for. All right. So I invite you guys to, if you are experiencing any blocks or any hesitations, take a moment, use the method of accessing the Akashic records, and work with your fears and your limitations and any kind of subconscious blocks or anything that's coming up for you. Take that into the space of the Akashic records and ask for help and ask for healing in that. And once you feel like you are ready to move on into the next exercise, meet me back for module number 5, where we're going to do a very powerful look at your life. And we're going to do a very powerful exercise that will really help increase your understanding of yourself and your purpose here on the earth at this time. So, but like I said, it is a very, very powerful transformational exercise that we're going to be doing next. So I want to make sure that you all feel like you're ready to move forward for that exercise. So take a moment and honor yourself if you need to work through any blocks or any fears that are coming up for you, so that you can move forward into the next modules. Now, if you are experiencing blocks and you do take a moment to go through the records and work with your blocks a little bit, don't feel like you have to have floodgates open and I'm totally open and ready to move forward. It's okay if you do a little bit of work on this and you're like, for some reason I don't feel like I'm 100% there yet. It's okay. Don't let that stop you. But don't go into the next exercise feeling like, oh man, I didn't get anything. If you feel like you didn't get anything, take some time and work through it, but don't feel like it has to all be solved before you move through the next exercise. You, in your intuition and your own divine wisdom and knowledge, will let you know when it's time to move forward. Okay, namaste, everyone, and I will see you back here for module number 5. All right, guys, we're going to do a little bonus meditation here, moving into the Akashic Records to work with our blocks. So if you felt like blocks came up for you, I invite you to hang out here with me and let's move through this process together. And let's do some work on holding some light on these areas where our fears are coming up and get those dissolved and reintegrated into our souls so that we can move forward. Okay? So everybody start by just closing your eyes, taking some deep breaths. With this exhale, allow your central light column to connect deep down into crystalline core of Mother Earth. Move it like roots of a tree down all the way till you get to that center liquid crystal energy. And once you feel like you've hit that crystalline core of Gaia with your inhale, bring that liquid pink crystal energy up through your being, through your central column. Exhale. Start to allow this energy to circulate up through Mother Earth, up through your being. And then exhaling it, releasing it back down into Mother Earth. And with the next breath, allow that breath to be pulled up through your central column, out the top of your head, moving all the way up past the moon and the stars, past the sun, past the solar system. Go all the way up until you find that perceived edge of the universe there, and then just move slightly beyond that invisible force field into the space of ether. Okay? And then with your breath, pull this ether energy back down through your central column, allowing it to mix with that earth energy that we've pulled up. And now with your breath and your intention, circulate that energy all the way back down through Mother Earth, crystalline core, bringing it back up through your central column, all the way up out into the space of ether, and circulating that ether energy back down, bringing it through your being, mixing with that earth energy, and then sending that energy back down into Mother Earth and pulling up new energy from Mother Earth, all the way up, circulating it through the ether. Good. Now I want you to find that space of consciousness inside of your head where you're processing all the information. Put it into your crystal ball and sink it down into your heart space. Okay? Allow it to rest peacefully here in your heart space. Now we're going to sound the 5 sacred ohms. With this ohm, I relax my body. Om. With this ohm, I relax my mind. With this ohm, I release my ego. With this ohm, I call in the light. With this Om, I open the records of Emily Suzanne Harrison. Om. And just to be clear, you're opening your own records. You're not opening my records. So you use your full name. All right, we have now entered the space, the Akashic records. Ask the masters, teachers, loved ones, and guides to attune your frequency to this higher dimension. And now we're going to ask for help from our masters, teachers, loved ones, and guides to get a sense of the nature of the block that we are experiencing. And allow that to come forward for you. It might come forward in words. It might come forward in just what looks like a ball of energy, a nondescript ball of energy, and that's okay too. Now we'd like to get a sense of what this fear is, where it stems from. Let's gather more information about this fear. Just try to understand it in a space of unconditional love and non-judgment. Now, in the space of the Akashic records, let's add light to this fear, this ball of energy, if it's appeared that way to you. Let's hold light on the space. Asking the masters, teachers, loved ones, and guides for their help. And holding light on this particular fear or block. Still adding light, holding light on the space. And now I want you to get a sense for how this fear has been serving you, how it's helped you. By adding the light and holding light on the fear first before we ask how it's been serving us, we add more wisdom. We add more enlightenment to the situation itself, so it gives us a more clear understanding of how it served us. And now that you have an understanding of how this fear is serving you, check in with yourself and see if you are ready to let that go. If you are ready to reabsorb, reintegrate the part of yourself that you cast out, that held that fear, and if you are ready to release the energetic remnants of that fear itself. And if the answer is yes, Allow all remnants and leftover aspects of this fear, of that energy lingering, to be released and reabsorb back into your soul, that part of yourself, either that past life version of you or a child version of you whom you had to set aside because it held that fear. So we're bringing all essences of your soul back into oneness and releasing all energetic vibrations that were a result of that fear. We want to give thanks to our masters, teachers, loved ones, and guides for helping us in this process. We want to acknowledge the frequency of oneness. So be it, and so it is. And now, with one final Om, we give thanks for all healing, and we close our Akashic records. Om. Slowly allow yourself to come back into your body, into the space here of the earth plane. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your body around a bit. Good job. Feel free to work with this bonus meditation until your instincts tell you that it's time to move forward. Don't get stuck here too long. Don't get stuck by the stuck. That can be another way that sometimes our subconscious mind or our ego, who likes to stay in a relative normalcy of life, can keep us from expanding and moving forward. So don't stay stuck in the stuck too long. Get back in there and get ready for the next module of opening our Akashic records and moving forward.